What up everyone, Clayton here, and today we're back with another Skyrim build. Today's build is called the Daedra Hunter. This build was suggested by the Cake God of All, and this build is you're going to hunt down anything that's evil, such as werewolves, vampires, and Daedra, and kill them, because that's kind of what you're all about. You have some backstory here, and it is you are an imperial born into a rich family in Citadel. For generations, your family was secretly part of a group of Daedra hunters. From a young age, you are trained to use a crossbow and to fight evil. One day, a group of angered Daedra followers attacked your estate, and you were lucky to escape alive. You were in a caravan and hitched a ride to Skyrim, where you get caught crossing the border, and that's where the events of Skyrim take place. So yeah, for just a little quick rundown of this build, it's pretty much just a role-playing of a kind of a Daedra hunter. You're going to be fighting vampires, you're going to be fighting werewolves, and you kind of just want to stick to killing evil and not really worry about like Civil War or the whole Dragonborn and shouts. You just want to stick to be able to destroy the evil. So let's go ahead and get into the perks here. Your main perks you're going to be using is, main skill lines that you're going to be using is Restoration, Enchanting, Smithing, Heavy Armor, and Archery. So for Restoration, you want to make sure you pick up skills to make sure to stay alive. Necromage is kind of cool because it allows you to, your spells more effectiveness against undead, and there's spells in the Dawnguard DLC, which there's a lot of stuff in the Dawnguard DLC that you'll be using for this build. There are spells like Vampire's Bane and Stinner's Aura, which allows you to do damage to undead, and this allows it to be more effective against them, and you can do more damage. For Enchanting is really good to improve your armor, which you'll be using Heavy Armor and the Dawnguard set. So you want to make sure you get some enhancements on those, maybe with some health, or maybe with some added archery skill. Smithing, you want to make sure you get the best armor you can possibly get. And if you're going to follow this build and use that Dawnguard armor, you want to make sure you get Advanced Armors, because that is the perk that allows your Dawnguard armor to be improved ×2. And with that Dawnguard armor, you'll be using Heavy Armor, and a really good perk in Heavy Armor is Conditioning, where it's Heavy Armor weighs nothing and does not slow you down when worn. And then your main skill, the most points you're going to be putting in, is Archery. I've completely filled out this whole entire tree because all the perks are really good, and you'll be using a crossbow, so all these archery points will help you do damage. And since archery is your only capable way of doing damage, you want to make sure you prioritize putting points into archery. So with the whole the perks and the skills out of the way, let's go ahead and go into the equipment that you'll be using for this build. Like I said earlier, you'll be using a Dawnguard Heavy Armor set, so you want to make sure you get all of that, and a crossbow. You can make it a crossbow of your choice, whether that is the Dwarven or the regular kind of steel looking one. I choose a steel looking one because I kind of feel like it goes better with the aesthetic. And with that, you'll have different bolts you can use. With the Dawnguard DLC, you have bolts that allow you to have exploding fire, shock, and fire, frost, and shock. The three elementals that you have in the game. So I would recommend getting a bunch of those three, and then just using those according to what enemies you're facing. If you're facing a bunch of Nords, you shouldn't use a frost, maybe you should use fire, or maybe if you're facing mage, you use shock, that allows to drain their magicka. You just kind of have to play around that, so yeah, go ahead and use that, and like I said earlier, you'll be fighting evil, so if you're fighting vampires, you can use the fire ones to do bonus damage to them. And then along with the spells you'll be using, I use wards as well as the healing spells to make sure you stay alive, and Stinder's Aura and Vampire's Bane, which is part of the Dawnguard DLC. Stinder's Aura is like an aura around you that does damage to the undead, and Vampire's Bane is an explosive thing, kind of like a fireball, that does damage to the undead. So you only can use them during fights with the undead, so yeah, just keep that in mind. So yeah, with that out of the way, we can talk about gameplay a little bit. I said earlier, you probably don't really want to go through the Civil War quest lines or through the Dragonborn quest lines where you get shouts. I don't even have shouts for this build because I want to keep it mostly about fighting evil. So you pretty much just want to exterminate, werewolves, vampires, and especially Daedra, since you are a Daedra hunter, and go around finding them and destroying them wherever they may be. If you do have the Dawnguard DLC, that would be perfect fit for you, and I'd go through that as soon as I can to get all the weapons and armor, and especially the explosive bolts that you can find, which are really, really good. So yeah, that's pretty much the build. I don't really know if there's anything else to say about it. It's pretty straightforward, and it's really fun to play. I enjoy a lot playing crossbow builds, because I think crossbows are probably the funnest thing they've added into the game. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this build. Oh, there's one other thing I want to talk about. That is the stat spread, which is you want to make sure you get enough magicka pool to cast your restoration skills, which is probably about 180 to 200 magicka, and then with the rest put into health and stamina with a 75-25 split. So I put about 75% of your points in the health and then 25 in the stamina, and that will give you a good stat spread. And if you want to level up all your skills quickly, the Lover Stone might be a good idea, as well as maybe it's getting the Mage or the Warrior Stone. So now I think I got everything covered, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this build. Make sure to give props to the creator, the Cake God of All. Thank you for suggesting this build, and if you haven't already, check out these two builds here. And yeah, this is Clayton, signing out.